In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. If I were to ask what an angel looks like, we would probably say something like they have long, white, flowing robes. Or they have halos, preferably made out of tinsel, and have in our mind's eye the cast of the last nativity play we saw, with lots of suitably attired small children. We could also talk about wings, different ones having different numbers, and we might say there are different types. There were seraphs and seraphim and cherubim. One of our local churches is dedicated to an angel, St. Michael. And in my ministry, this is my second church dedicated to this particular angel. Angel-based dedications of churches often mean that they have their roots a long way back in history, about 800 years for our St. Michael in Penselwood. In the previous church dedicated to St. Michael, where I was a curate in Basingstoke, I often used to get groups of visiting school children. I used to ask them to count the number of angels. There were loads. Or even to count the number of wings if I was feeling particularly mischievous. We need to be a bit careful about describing angels in the way I just have, akin to small children in nativity plays, because firstly, there must be something quite intimidating about encountering angels, as almost always the first things that they say to people is do not be afraid. Secondly, as you can see in this picture, our angel Michael, who we mark today, is a long way from the fluffy tinsel haloed sort of angel from our Christmas cards. He is a fighting angel and a warrior angel, and his name means who is like God, and that has to make us think too. Biblically, we don't know a whole lot about Michael. He's one of the three named angels actually in the Bible, the other two being Gabriel, who is closely associated with the birth of Jesus and whose name means the strength of God, and Raphael, who's associated with healing and whose name means the healing of God. Michael is described in two places in the Bible, in a vision in the book of Daniel as a prince, and as the head soldier angel who successfully fought a dragon and defeated the devil in the visions within the Revelation of John that was our first reading today. The word angel is taken from a very ordinary word meaning messengers, and angels are a particular type of messenger, as they bring good news from God to the people, and as such are God's special messengers. And we will remember them fulfilling all sorts of roles. And there are others of the more aggressive angel sort alongside Michael. For example, the cherubim and the flaming swords protecting the Garden of Eden at the beginning of Genesis, the angel who wrestled all night with Jacob a bit further on in Genesis, the angel who speaks to Joshua, the horse and the chariots of fire surrounding Elisha, and the fourth man in the fiery furnace in the story of Daniel.
Now, I think that this point about being God's messengers is a way in which we can be more like angels today, even these tougher sort of angels. It's important for all of us to share our love for God and for Jesus. It's no coincidence that the word angel is found within the word evangelize, which means to talk of Jesus and to share his story with others and to help them to develop a faith in God of their own. If we develop this a little further, it also means living lives that share this good news of Jesus too with others. In our current strange times and circumstances, where we found being a person of faith helpful, I think it's important to share that. Also, where we found praying has helped us to say so. Where we found knowing the promise of everlasting life helpful to say so. And where we found hope in God and comfort through his Spirit, it's helpful to say so. Now, there are three other ways specifically related to harvest and being God's messengers, and therefore being harvest angels to others, that I'd like to explore now. First, being a harvest angel means sharing our sense of thanksgiving for the harvest. This is particularly important this year, when we cannot do some of the things that would enrich our community, which make this point. Things like bedecking our church with flowers and produce, sharing in a harvest lunch and then having lots of fun auctioning all that has been donated. Thankfulness for the harvest includes thankfulness for the sun and the rain, the fields and the pastures, the seeds, the hay, the feed crops, the vegetables and fruit, and all manner of foods we enjoy, for those who grow it, who farm it, who harvest and process it and retail our food, and all the myriad of skills that sustain our meal tables. Sharing our thankfulness with others helps us to keep a right balance in things, not getting too puffed up with our own self-importance, and recognising all that goes into making our daily bread. The second way we can be harvest angels is how we choose to live our lives. We will remember from the account of Genesis, and the account of the creation in Genesis, I should say, that on the sixth day of creation, humankind were given dominion over God's beautiful world, to honour it and share its resources, to live in reverence for creation and in harmony with one another. It's important we live lightly on our earth, that we honour it, live in reverence to it, and share the resources we have harmoniously by looking at and modifying our lifestyles. And there are a selection of ways we can choose to live lightly and to encourage others to live lightly too. This is one of those areas in life where saying it is not as effective as doing it.
A third way we can be a harvest angel is to regularly pray for our natural world. Praying for our local farmers, processors and retailers, praying for things that are important to them. The Arthur Rank Centre are running a thank you campaign for our farmers for Harvest 2020. And in our email round robin this week was a poster, so you might want to stick this somewhere prominent to show your thanks. The Arthur Rank Centre recommended praying for our farming communities across the triple threat that has affected them this year. The vagaries of our weather and the dry spring, which has resulted in a very poor wheat harvest. The uncertainties around agricultural policy as we exit the EU. And then thirdly, the impacts of COVID-19, particularly on sources of diversified income and workforce issues. Whilst we are praying, we might also like to pray for areas across the world where the harvests have failed or been poor due to the impact of climate change or difficult weather too. According to the World Bank, agricultural developments is one of the most powerful tools to end extreme poverty, boost shared prosperity, and feed the projected 9.7 billion people there will be on Earth by 2050. And yet, agricultural-driven growth, poverty reduction and food security are all at risk at the moment. Climate change is already impacting crop yields, especially in the world's most food insecure regions. In 2020, shocks related to climate change, conflict, pests and emerging infectious diseases are hurting food production, disrupting supply chains and stressing people's ability to access nutritious and affordable food. So, returning to angels where I started, when I was first ordained back in 2004, I was given a card with this picture on it. It says, "Congratulations on your ordination," and then clearly shows the picture of an angel. I was at least initially left with the impression that one of my friends thought I was going to become an angel. At the very least, I seemed destined to sprout a lacy, sparkly outfit like this angel and a halo and a pair of wings. I'm glad to say that being ordained has yet to have this effect on me, as having wings would make putting on my toes really quite difficult. Now, physically, becoming an angel is impossible in this mortal life, as angels are not the same as humans. They are a mixture of spirit and matter, and are a different order altogether than human beings. So, if we can't become angels, what can we do? What we can do is develop angel-like qualities by being God's messengers. And I hope that's really what the person that gave me this card envisaged, that we should be God's messengers. We need to share the good news of Jesus, and also to be harvest angels, to be God's messengers in relation to harvest. We need to share our sense of thankfulness for the harvest, make lifestyle choices that mean we live lightly on God's beautiful world, and pray for our local farmers and our agricultural economy and food production across the world. Amen. In a moment or two, we're going to say together a harvest thanksgiving, and then at the end of this video is an opportunity to sing one of our most well-known harvest hymns. So here is the harvest thanksgiving. Do join in with the bits in bold. Let us give thanks to God, the God of all peoples of the earth, for the colour and forms of your creation and our place within it. We bring our thanks, good Lord. Your mercy endures forever. For our daily food and those whose work and skill bring your good gifts to us, we bring our thanks, good Lord. Your mercy endures forever. For the gifts and graces inspired in human minds and hearts, for insight and imagination, for the skills of research which bring healing and fulfilment to the lives of many, we bring our thanks, good Lord. Your mercy endures forever. For the light and shade of the changing seasons, and their variety and dependability, for our life and growth out of barrenness and decay, we bring our thanks, good Lord. Your mercy endures forever. For new hope and strength in our communities, especially in your church, and among all you call to serve you, we bring our thanks, good Lord. Your mercy endures forever. For all in whose lives we see goodness, kindness, gentleness, patience and humility, and all of the fruit of the Spirit, we bring our thanks, good Lord. Your mercy endures forever. For the life we have been given, and for all those whom you have given us to share it, we bring our thanks, good Lord. Your mercy endures forever. We're now going to have a harvest hymn, and I'm very grateful to John for playing it for us. Come, ye thankful people, come.